Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Sapna Dadwal. I'm working as a professor in the Department of Management. This is my lecture 13 of Consumer Protection. This subject is taught in BBA 6th semester. The topics I am going to cover in this lecture are consumer organization. I will give you a brief introduction of the consumer organizations. Second is formation of consumer organization, role of consumer organizations, functions of consumer organizations. Then I'll be discussing problems or challenges of consumer discussion. Voluntary. Now I'm starting with the introduction of voluntary consumer organization. Voluntary consumer organization refers to organization formed voluntarily by the consumers to protect their rights and interests. The main objective of these voluntary consumer organizations are to uphold the consumer's right and to ensure the welfare of the consumers. Consumer organizations are playing a significant role in providing protection to the consumers against the malpractices of businessmen and traders. They also enhance the level of consumer satisfaction. In India, there are more than 500 consumer organizations and they are fighting for the rights of the consumers and against the malpractices of the business and ensuring justice to the consumers. Consumer organizations which made remarkable impact on the Indian consumer movement are Voice, Grahak, Panchayat, Mahila, Upbhokta, Sangathan, CRC, CUTS, etc. These are the organizations, consumer organizations which have impacted the life of the Indian consumers, and they have made a vital contribution in awareing the consumers about their rights and about different laws. Now, formation of consumer organization. In India, a consumer organization, depending on its nature, can be registered under the Companies Act 1956 under any law in force such as Societies Registration Act 1860, Indian Trust Act 1908 or Cooperative Societies Act 1912. The purpose of forming such an association must be the protection of the interest of consumer. Also, such an organization has to get recognition from the central government. The central government establishes the Consumer Welfare Fund in 1992 to provide financial assistance to the registered consumer organization. Assistance from the fund is provided to any agency or the organization which is engaged in consumer welfare activities for a period of 3 years and is registered under any law in force. The assistance is mainly provided for creating consumer awareness, spreading consumer education, preparing publicity materials, setting up testing laboratories, conducting research. The following is the procedure of registration of consumer organization. The first is application for recognition of consumer association to Department of Company Affairs. This is the first step. The applicants have to send application or have to submit the application with Consumer Affairs Department for the recognition. The second is the application of recognition must accompany a challan or DD of 1000 fees or as required by the law. Then third is verification of application is the third step. The Company Affairs Department will verify the application and it will be verified by the principal officer. Then the Department of Company Affairs shall or may give acknowledgement of the application that they have received. After verification, they can give you acknowledgement of the application. The next step is the Department of Company Affairs may require the applicants to furnish some information as it may consider necessary. The next process is the Department of Company Affairs shall dispose of the applicant for recognition within 90 days. And in case a certificate of recognition lost, destroyed, then duplicate may be issued with the submission of some fees as required by the law. A fees to be paid as per the rule for the recognition certificate. If the application for recognition is refused, then the reason of refusal will be informed to the applicant. And last is copies of certificate of recognition is to be sent to certain authorities. So this is the procedure of recognition of organizations. The next topic is role of consumer organizations. Role of consumer organizations. Consumer organizations are engaged in performing various consumer welfare activities. So to play an effective role, consumer organization need to raise their concern on safety and quality of services and goods prices of products, fair trade practices. They should demand transparency, accountability, and friendly governance from the government. So consumer organization need to be in touch with academic circles, universities, exports, governmental agencies, research bodies, etc., to share their knowledge on issue of consumer concern. In the light of above, the role of consumer organization can be discussed as under. First was is consumer awareness and education. The major role of consumer organization is to bring awareness among consumers about their rights. This role a consumer organization does by increasing consumer awareness. They make aware consumers about their rights and the way to get or seek redressal to their complaint. They educate consumers about harmful effect of the products. So we can say that consumer organizations are using various activities, street plays, counseling, exhibition, for making aware or for educating consumers. The second is uniting consumers. Consumer organizations have a major role in uniting consumers as a powerful market force. An example is the ongoing movement against genetically modified food. Then product rating, pricing and testing. Consumer organizations have a major role in product rating, pricing, testing. Consumer organization adopts different criteria for evaluating the products or new products, and for testing it, they have their own laboratories also. Some consumer organizations, they have their own laboratories for testing the products also, to testing the harmful effects on the consumer of the products. Then relationship with other agency. Consumer organization have an important role in establishing good relationship with other agencies like FICCI, Consumer Protection Councils, Indian Standard Institute, other government agencies. So they build relationship with other organizations or government bodies, and they work alongside or with government bodies for the protection of the consumer. Then is complaints and their settlement. Consumer organization, after receiving complaints, they take their complaint to the related parties and try to settle out the complaints of the consumers. They provide legal help to the consumers also. The consumers who doesn't afford to have legal help, they provide legal services to these consumers also. Then conducting research. These organizations, they do conduct consumer research for performing their activities. So consumer organization undertake research in the field of consumer education, complaint settlement, government role, etc. Now, training to consumer activities. In order to lead the consumer protection movement and to protect the interest of the consumer organization provide training to members in consumer protection areas also. Then communication with people. These organizations communicate or inform the consumers about legal issues, government actions, etc. Now, the next topic is functions of consumer organizations. Consumer organizations play a very important role and they play different functions for protecting consumers. They publish journals and brochures for the information of consumers. These publications highlight the rights of consumers and research findings about different products. Then, consumer organization accelerate the consumer awareness. Consumer organization collect the data on different products and test them and then inform the findings to the consumers. Consumer organization arranges talks, seminars, workshops and conferences for the purpose of focusing the problems of consumers and finding solution thereon. Consumer organization encourage consumers for boycotting goods which are defective or which are harmful to them. Then consumer organization file suits, complaints and writ petition on behalf of the consumers. Consumer organization also investigate into the problems of the consumers. Consumer organization resist price rigging to prevent adulteration, to prevent hoarding, black marketing, etc. It also checks the underweight sellings in the market. Then consumer organization also produces the films on food adulteration, misuse of drugs, cosmetics. It also makes films on laws for the consumer protection and agency for the consumer protection. It tells the make aware the consumers from showing such films to the consumers. Then consumer organization educate consumers to help themselves. It organizes exhibitions to create awareness. It extends the help to government organization in bringing cases of food adulteration, sale of hazardous goods or other malpractices by business. It helps the business in standardizing the products. It educates the consumers about trade practices, etc. So it promotes the network of consumer organization region-wise, state-wise, along with federation at the apex level. Then it set up voluntary complaint counters for consumer for guidance and counseling. It motivates people to adopt socially desirable consumption standards. Now, one more topic I am going to discuss here, problems or limitations of consumer organization. These consumer organizations, they do face problems also while doing their work, while playing their vital role. They do face problems also, they do have challenges also. The first challenge is lack of resources. Consumer organizations need resources to play their role effectively. Many consumer organizations lack expertise on technical issues. They have to participate effectively in policy discussion. They should be able to avail the services of experts, and costs should be reimbursed by the government. Then second challenge is diversity of consumer movement. Consumer organizations from different state, district or even the same town do not always agree on issues. Therefore, consumer organizations fail to raise the issues with industry or government with one voice. Then third is lack of consumer awareness. Majority of the consumers do not have knowledge about the consumer organization existing at state level, national level. However, they may have knowledge about the local consumer organization. Then next challenge is lack of funds. Consumer organizations do not accept assistance from industry or business. However, the government provides grants to consumer organization. The government provides grants to consumer organization, but still consumer organization have to follow same guidelines prepared to receive the financial assistance from the government. In such cases, the consumer organization have to face many bureaucratic problems for getting that grant from the government. Then lack of training and expertise. The member of the consumer organizations need training in consumer protection areas to develop expertise and speak with authority. Then lack of code of conduct. There is no uniform code of conduct for the existing consumer organization at local level, state level or national level. Then corruption. The cancer of corruption has spread today all to the areas of public life also, all professions and in voluntary sector also. We have seen consumer organizations have to face this evil also, unless voluntary organization include consumer organization. So some organization there is corruption also. This is all for today's lecture. These are the questions which are related to the above topics. If any query is there, please do contact me. If any writing mistake is there, please do ignore that writing mistake. Thank you. Thank you so much.